All right, Parma, we see you. Calm down. Drinking a nice Ace of the Lakes beer here from Platform, Mr. Michael. Oh, look at all these happy people out here. Happy Father's Day. Thank you, Kathy. Oh, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Jeannie. Oh, my goodness. Hey, everybody. Now, don't forget, I know you guys are here. I can see you. Well, I can see you know, your typing, you know. Anyway, I'm muttering. Don't forget, tonight is the Simply Slavic live stream as well, which the Chardon Polka Band is a part of. So if you are here, that means you're not catching it live, and we would encourage you to go check that out. Simply Slavic, folks. All right. Hopefully you're still there. And yeah, we're going to kick things off here in just a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time once again for the Chardon Polka Band's Stay at Home Polka Variety Hour. Starring your host, Jake Kouwe. Featuring Mike Franklin, Mitch Lawrence, and Bob Young. Here now is the host of your show, Jake Kouwe.
All right, boys and girls. Oh my goodness. Jake, it's good to see everyone out there, even though I know I can't literally see you because this is a live stream. And some of you guys might not be watching live because some of you guys might be watching the Simply Slavic live stream tonight, which is, you should be doing that. If you're not watching it now, please go watch it later. It's going to be a great program. The Chardon Polka Band is involved as well. You know, I almost didn't put on the show tonight because I was like, well, they're on at the same time, you know, but then I was like, well, it's also like, yeah, people can watch one or the other later too, so you can have your cake and eat it too. Oh my goodness. Lee joins us from Simply Slavic. It's a great program over there, so make sure you go check it out. That's Simply Slavic. I believe it's simplyslavic.org or .com, and the live stream is on their Facebook. Oh my goodness. So we got two things to start off the show, and then we're going to bring in a special guest. Some of you guys might be able to guess who that is with what day is like happening. Anyway, folks, I got to grab the accordion here. Got a special dedication for Jenny and Tim Bauer Socks. It's their anniversary tomorrow. Did I read that right? Anniversary? Hold on, I got to check this out. Make sure it's not a birthday and I'm biffing it. It's anniversary tomorrow. Jenny and Tim. I should have written that down. All right, hold on. We got to switch cameras. Oh, you can't take my polka from me. No matter what you try, I'll kick and scream until I die. Oh, listen when I say it's gotta be this way. You can't take my polka from me. Turn around while you still can. You won't stop the Chardon band. You'll lose if you want to fight that fight. We'll be standing here with a case of old style beer. We will play our polka till we die. You can't take my polka from me. No matter what you try, I'll kick and scream until I die. Oh, listen when I say it's gotta be this way. You can't take my polka from me. No matter what you try, I'll kick and scream until I die. Listen when I say it's gotta be this way. You can't take my polka from me. Oh, listen when I say it's gotta be this way. You can't take my polka from me. Oh, you can't take my polka from me, ladies and gentlemen. Live tune on the show for you, but we got to play some recorded music coming up here. Hold on. Got to set the old accordion down. Y'all notice my awesome t-shirt? Oh, unboxed this last week live on the show. This is from our buddy Squeeze, and thanks hooking me up with this t-shirt. Of course, I was showing off. Hold on, they're still around here. These are wonderful, wonderful finger charts for the accordion friends and neighbors. Look up our good friend Squeeze and Thanks. Find yourself one of these if you're interested in playing the accordion, or you already do so. You could use the extra help. We all can. It's wonderful stuff. Sorry, just making sure I'm catching everything going on over here. Yes, a happy anniversary to Jenny and Tim. That's on the 21st, so tomorrow. Hopefully they're watching. If not, maybe they'll watch it later. I don't know. Now, we got to wish happy birthday to a very, very dear friend of mine, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to celebrate him with a song because boys and girls, friends and neighbors, mothers, children, fathers, brothers, uncles, tomorrow is not tomorrow. I don't know what day it is anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, I have twins. They go constantly. It's crazy. You'll hear them. They're hollering up there. Today, right now, it's Mike Franklin's birthday. Everybody, blow kisses. Maybe he's catching them somewhere. Mr. Mike Franklin's birthday is today, so I must honor this truly brave, great American, Mr. Mike Franklin. Mike Franklin's been Been in this band for, I think we did the math, it's either 10 or 11 years now. Mike has been standing right next to me on stage every step of the way doing this. It's just wonderful. Couldn't do this without him. Of course, most recently, as we've moved into the virtual world, he's been doing all the audio editing for our stuff. He plays the banjo. He plays the guitar. He's a brilliant man. He's a wonderful man. I could go on. That could be our whole show tonight. Unfortunately, I have other stuff I got to get to, so that'll be another episode someday. But we truly love this man, Mike Franklin, and we're going to honor him by playing him. We're going to honor him by playing him. Ladies and gentlemen, doing what he does best.
That's right. All right, this last one we're going to play in this set, let's see. We'll make it a yodeling number, ladies and gentlemen. We'll do a yodeling number starring Meister Mike Franklin. Is a translation of a German tune. By translation, I mean we just made up some English lyrics. So it's fun. All right, Mr. Mike Franklin yodeling for you on this number.
Strings on me, day and night whenever I can, I'm having fun, you see. I am just a yodeling dude, and if you think it's bland, just relax your attitude and listen to the band. Just to do my best and try to yodel your blues away. I am just a yodeling nerd, I yodel all day long. And if like me you are absurd, just drink and sing along.
All right. We got our accountant is sitting over here.
it's good. Wherever that was headed was going to be truly interesting as I was going to introduce our accountant, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're the Chardon Polka Band, thanks to the diligent work of Mr. Mike Franklin, is successful enough that we need an accountant. We actually, I think next year we're going to need 3 of them. I don't know. I don't know why we'd need 3. I don't know why I said that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're live. And I say anything. So we got a lot of different wishes going on out there, wishes for other folks for their happy Father's Day. Oh my goodness. So I'll answer this. I had a Two questions I'll answer. Some people were asking about the new merch because they've ordered the new merch. Well, a few of the shirts. The shirts were so new we didn't even have them in yet, so they're getting in this week or next, and then we're gonna ship them out. I know some of y'all ordered the new hats and stuff like that. This is Ace of the Lakes. I am drinking to answer that question, and no, I have not cut my hair. It's just in a ponytail behind me, so the kids don't grab it. The kids are yeah. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, it is Mike Franklin's birthday, so happy birthday to Mike. And now I got a very special guest on the program. In fact, I didn't even announce this because I didn't know if we were going to be able to pull it off. I still don't know. It still hasn't happened. One of the things with this show, I have very poor internet connection at my home. So any guest we featured, we've had to pre-record or have in the room with me in the case of my mother, which leads me to this. So we had my mom here for Mother's Day. Why not bring my dad onto the program for Father's Day? Are you guys ready for this? Let's see if it works. Hold on. Phil. Hold
Yes.
on. There. Let's see if I can... Phil's here. Let's see if I can...
Is this thing working?
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
Hello?
Phil Kouwe up on the screen. Hold on, Phil. I'm going to modify your screen so people can see it better. Like I said, this is untested territory for us. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, up on the screen, Mr. Phil Kouwe. Let's hear it for Phil Kouwe, everybody. Phil Kouwe. Let him know. Oh, what's that, Dad?
I was just going to say, you don't just have poor internet service. You live so far out in the boonies that I think you pay a guy $10 to sit in the backyard and turn a crank to keep your dial-up modem working.
It is true. It is true. You know, I think I told AT&T, not to name names, by the way, but I think I told our internet provider that, if I send files to somebody, which right now that's what I do, I'm sending videos back and forth. It's faster for me to put it on a hard drive, jump in my car, and go set it on someone's door in 2 states over. Anyway, let's not complain about the internet. Well, I'm getting the best we can get out here. And I'm not moving. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not the point. The point is we've got Phil Kouwe, my dad, in the house, drinking from his Chardon Polka Band mug there. Phil Kouwe. Now, I asked your questions for Phil Kouwe, but I thought we would just jump in at the beginning of my musical experience with my dad. And we're gonna rewind maybe later, but I'm gonna jump in to when I was about 14 and decided I was gonna get an accordion. What did you think, Dad?
I literally remember saying to your mother, "Don't worry about it. This won't last a week, and we'll be able to resell the accordion at the same price we bought it for."
$50.
That's
right.
That was my theory.
So that got the ball rolling. I started playing accordion, and me and Mom didn't get into this much during our conversation, but I think we mentioned in middle school, me and Ricky Mock, this other kid from middle school, we put a band together called Alan's Ugly Girlfriend, and you played music, right? You'd been in bands, and
Yes.
You play guitar. You played piano back in the day, right? Like you played keys in bands.
A little bit. Some
And bass. That's what
bass.
a lot of you guys see Dad playing bass with the Chardon Polka Band occasionally. Here, let me fix a window here. And drums. You now play drums.
Yeah, I actually started out with drums when I was in high school. That was my instrument. And then I kind of moved away from that for a while. And then just in the last 10 years or so, trying to get back into it a little bit. But I don't know if you remember or not, but I didn't really play the bass until you, at some point in your accordion playing, said, "I need a bass player."
Uh, okay, I'm gonna correct you on that one. There's probably gonna be a lot of story corrections tonight. We're back and forth. Cowies try not to step on each other's toes, but
But which one would they believe?
I you it wasn't that I needed a bass player. I didn't know enough about music to go we really need a bass player. But I was playing all these jobs before I could even drive, and you were driving me and went, "Well, it's pointless to sit in a car. I might as well come in and play this thing."
I think I felt like if I was there with you, there was less likelihood you'd get arrested again.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I think the one of the first times I remember. Okay, so I got the accordion, and I think I mean I can only assume you. I know later you gave me a lot of advice and stuff, but you knowing music probably gave me guidance when I was first starting. But then, very shortly after I got that accordion, me and Rick Mock formed this awful band, Alan's Ugly Girlfriend, in middle school, and I remember like he would play guitar and I would just kind of yell. And one of many times that this would happen over the next 10 years that I was living there and playing music was it wait no I started and we'll figure out the years later, but me and Ricky were playing and you basically kicked open the door and went, "You're gonna have to learn to sing. You're the singer in a band. You have to sing." And this would be repeated throughout my young musical career. Another time, in a different band, I think it was me and Dan Corby were recording in that same room or maybe in the basement, and you kicked open the door and literally yelled, "It doesn't matter how many chords you know, you at least have to put them in the right order." And then actually, I have you to thank for me learning how to play guitar, even though I only know a few chords on guitar. But I had picked up a guitar to show. I asked my friend, "Well, how do you play this?" And I played like half the chord, and I was playing these half chords just to show someone else's song. And you started just one. It's gonna sound like my dad yelled at me a lot. He really didn't. But I was playing like these half chords on a guitar, and I think you took the guitar away from me and said, "You can have this when you learn how to play chords."
Well, these stories, unfortunately, are pretty much all true. Um, but it's only fair to say, when I was growing up, my mother, your grandmother,
Yep.
was a music teacher, and that was her background, that was her training. And so those of us in the family that showed, some musical interest, mom was pretty hard on us. And I remember just kind of carrying that forward when you started doing music. The two things I remember that I was strictest on was rhythm. You had to stay on rhythm, and pitch, your vocal pitch. And I had absolutely no idea that either of those were going to make any difference in your life. So
They did. So many things did. I got to do one more Alan's Ugly Girlfriend story because people still tell me about this. We were okay. So Alan's Ugly Girlfriend, this punk band I was in middle school, we were playing a big end of the year project, and you were there because you had to bring all the equipment because we used your old equipment. So you had,
Correct.
wheeled in all the equipment to this auditorium, and it was only going to be a 15-minute presentation. So you were going to wait for the equipment, and you were just in this room full of middle schoolers who don't like parents. And I remember, I think you just found a pair of sunglasses and put on this pair of sunglasses and stood there at the back of the auditorium like this. And the kids are like, "Who's that guy?" No one knew my dad, and you just stood there. And you just stood there at the auditorium. And so for the presentation, both me and Ricky had to speak. So we talked about music, and then we played songs. And the first song we played, I mean, we weren't any good, but the kids loved it. You know, we played this song, and all these middle schoolers start clapping and yelling, and then you literally just walked out like this to the middle of the auditorium, and you went, and then you walked back. You didn't say a word. You didn't say a word. And it was brilliant. I mean, this is the kind of humor that would define the Chardon Polka Band, but it was hilarious. You just came out and did this, and literally kids were asking us for the rest of the school year, who was that guy? And because you did that every song, you'd come out, and it was just brilliant. It was brilliant. So we could.
It's funny.
Go ahead.
Because my memory of your musical journey, in my memory anyway, begins at about 14 years old.
Right.
And kind of working forward from there. And so I do remember the early days when I was carting you everywhere with all this equipment. And I was trying to show you how to use the equipment, and half of it was broken anyway. So it was interesting.
Well, we did have some pretty. I mean, it was just kind of your scraps, your leftovers. From there was like a bass cabinet that we hooked to a 1964 PA.
I have to tell my one favorite Chardon high school polka band story, and that was that you had. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So you had asked me to cart you to an event where the Chardon Polka Band was going to be playing, the Chardon High School Polka Band at the time. And I think it was you and Paul and maybe somebody else. You needed to stop at the school. This was on a weekend, and you needed to stop at the school because one of you needed to pick up your instrument. You were all playing, except you and the accordion. You were all playing the school's instruments at the time. And so I thought this was all prearranged. And as we pull up in front of the school, you're going, just park here at the curb, keep the engine running. And you all jumped out and you headed for the school. And I just remember thinking, why aren't they using the door? And you disappeared kind of around the rear of the building, and couple minutes went by and you're all heading back to the van and you've got a big tuba or something with you. And I just remember you going, drive.
It's probably Barry's saxophone. We got in a lot of trouble over that Barry sax. Yeah, for those of y'all who don't know, the wonderful 20 years later, almost, it's 17 years later, the Chardon Polka Band started out as a Chardon High School polka band, had a lot of misadventures. We started as a school band. Thus, we were using school instruments sometimes with their blessing, sometimes just using them. Yeah. Another story from high school. So I'd done like the punk band in middle school, and then several different projects starting off high school, many of them you were an integral part of. I mean, we started playing music together. As soon as I could play a song, I was doing something with you. But so we should rewind to that. But you bought, I see it back here, our very first sound system. And we had been using pieces of your sound system. And you bought us that Yamaha 6-channel. You can expand it to 8-channel mixer back there, power mixer. And I remember it was like, we got a power mixer, 3 mics, and 2 speakers, 2 Yamaha speakers. Great. What?
I think some stands too.
Yeah. Stands. Yeah. And we got all those, and for like $900. And I remember I was just freaked out because that was a lot of money to spend. And you bought them. You bought them for me. And And I said, Dad, no, this is, we'll make it do with what we have. And you looked at me, and this was right after we had started the polka band, and we had started doing a couple gigs with the polka band. And you said, Jake, there's now three 3 years into playing music, and you said, you've been doing this nonstop for 3 years. This band you just started is now playing gigs. It's probably not something you're gonna stop doing. You have a lot of fun doing it. You're probably gonna continue it. I don't think you meant as a career, but I very much appreciate that. I think, like you were saying, you wanted, if I was gonna try and do something, you wanted me to do it right. I couldn't be running around doing jobs with, leftover gear. Um, so let's talk about, since we got you, I talk at you, talk. We So there was a polka band. There was Sounds Like a Girlfriend, but I had all these different musical endeavors we were involved in. You and me were like a thing all through that time. You and me did our own act. It changed names several times. A lot of times we were G.I. Jake and his Bavarian Dance Kings, which was a joke because it was just me and you. There were no Bavarian Dance Kings. It was just you, right? We got a regular recurring gig at the county fair. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What do you remember about the county fair? Is that important to you?
I I actually don't remember how we got the gig. First of all, I think you got it, and I kind of got dragged into it. But I remember being terrified, not because I was going to get up in front of people and perform, because as you said, I've been doing music my whole life, so that wasn't it. I was terrified for you because I knew this was a serious, people were coming to hear, they were expecting to see somebody who could carry the show, and I was really scared that first time until we started performing, and I realized how incredibly naturally it came for you. And from there on, I didn't worry so much. But that first one, it was pretty scary.
When so the Giaga Fair, yeah, it was a I should describe the act because it wasn't the Chardon Polka Band, although there
It
were
was
elements
very,
of it.
it had a very Smothers Brothers feel to it.
Ex-
It really did.
ex- well, and you watched the program last week. Last week I was talking about you introducing me to the Smothers Brothers, and the first time I heard that name was in association with the Geauga County Fair. We were. I remember. Okay, I had maybe 10 songs I played on the accordion, maybe 20. I mean, if we're being, I know that's a big jump, but it had been a few years, so I had some songs I was playing on the accordion. I think I had maybe just learned enough to get by on a guitar, and we got this county fair gig, and I think you went, we need songs, so we buckled down. We still got the folder somewhere. You and I mean, I there were some of the songs were me, but like you said, all right, let's list out the songs we want to play. No, we're not playing that one, Jake. And then you brought some to the table and said, Jake, this is a county fair. If we do Brown Eyed Girl, people are gonna love it. If we do You and Me and a Dog Named Boo, people are gonna love it. And I go, I don't know those songs. And you go, you're gonna have to play some of these at the county fair, which is great because if we had just gone up there with the stuff I knew on accordion, it was all polkas and waltzes, and we couldn't have carried that at that time for a 2-hour show. But then as we were developing this song list, I've always gravitated towards novelty songs, Weird Al Yankovic. We had that funny Canadian band we got a bunch of material from,
yeah.
the Arrogant Worms.
Right.
And I just played those songs, and you go, well, Jake, you can't just go from Brown Eyed Girl to a funny song. You've got to have a shtick to tie it all together. And you said, like the Smothers Brothers. And like, it's probably 7 years before I actually saw or heard the Smothers Brothers, but you told me all about their shtick, and you're like, and that's what you do. and since then in my career we've done the Smothers Brothers, but that was our joke at the county fair, right?
Right.
I,
Exactly.
I was kind of this kid singing whatever, and you were as my father, as my real father, but also kind of as a shtick in the show, going, well, son, we do this, and it was people loved it. We did you and
Yeah.
me
No,
had
it got them laughing. The we even did some of their music. What was that Ducks song where quack quack quack?
the fox. That's the
But
Smothers
yeah,
Brothers tune.
Fox
Fox
in the
went out
Town.
on a chilly night, prayed for the moon to give him the light.
Yeah.
Well, and
And we would.
yeah,
Yeah.
you assembled our first band for the county fair, because I think it started as you and me, and then you drafted a couple people from church, I think, to play behind
That's
us.
correct.
So we had it was probably 4 years running. We had kind of a different group every year, but we assembled just for that county fair gig.
Yep.
Pops the drummer was part of that. I think I don't know if it was every year, but if it wasn't, it was 3 or 4. And then we used a couple different guitar players in there,
Yes.
and that allowed us to widen our music, our variety. If I'm saying that right, folks. So we didn't script this. We're just throwing out stuff.
You
But
don't ever.
me and Dad
Nah.
are just reminiscing. I actually forgot there were people over here. Hello, people. There's still people watching. I don't know. Let us know if you're still watching. This is Jake Kouwe and Mr.
Phil Kouwe.
Phil Kouwe. That's my dad. Reminiscing about the great Geauga County Fair, which we played when I was in high school. It was we had a tremendous time. I could go on about that for years, so I probably shouldn't do that. We should probably move along. Folks, it's halftime. Halftime is a great time to go to the Kids Corner. Now, I'm going to preface this Kids Corner very little. Dad, I'm going to step away for a second because I got to go to the Kids Corner, all right? But you stay there, okay? All right. Hey, kids, it's Jake here at the Kids Corner. Oh, my goodness. I hope you're enjoying the show, all of our young viewers and young at heart viewers. Of course, Kids Corner means we got the skunk and the llama over here. Kids, we did a great program for the Burton Public Library, their summer reading kickoff. I would encourage you to all go check out, all you kids. You'll love it. But I want to share with all my kids out there, if I can find it. I got to find it on my screen here. When I was a kid, this is the music I enjoyed, all right?
Say, kids, did you know your clothes can catch on fire? That's right. If you get too close to something that's hot, your clothes and you would get hurt. Let's say Mom's cooking dinner and you want to see what she's making. Well, if you get your sleeve too close to the burner, your clothes could catch on fire and you're gonna get hurt. Now, you need to know what to do if that happens. You can't panic. You can't run, you can't wave your arms, you'll just make the fire worse. What you've got to do is smother the flames out. And the way to do that is to learn to stop, drop, and roll.
Well, if you're out in that kitchen and you rattle those pots and pans. Well, if you're out in that kitchen and you rattle those pots and pans. Well, if your clothes catch fire, well, you're in trouble, man. Well, if your clothes catch fire and you don't know what to do. Well, if your clothes catch fire and you don't know what to do. Well, just listen to me and I'll give you a great big clue. You gotta stop, drop and roll. 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 When you better do something to save your doggone soul. to play. Well, you think that fire is a very fun thing to play. But don't mess around, 'cause it'll burn you up someday. Well, if your clothes catch fire, don't run, don't scream, don't cry. Well, if your clothes catch fire, don't run, don't scream, don't cry. Just get on the floor and cover up your eyes. And then stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. You gotta stop, drop, and roll. Well, stop, drop, and roll. Well, you better do something to save your doggone soul.
Oh my goodness. There it is. There it is, Dad. What do you think about that? Now see, let's see if you see the family resemblance. A fire chief mustache right there. All right, folks, I got to put our Kids Corner in context because roughly 25 years before Jake was doing kids music with Pony in the Backseat, Phil Kouwe was doing it. Oh, hold on. I got to get you back on screen, Phil. Darn it. I was hitting the wrong button.
Hey, you just brought the llama back instead of me.
That's right. All right, so Phil's back. Phil's back in the house. Sorry, I was on my wrong screen. Like I said, we haven't attempted the live thing before. So that was my dad. Phil Kouwe. And kids, that's what I grew up with. That was my own belief of what my dad did for a living. Dad, now I want to turn the program over to you because the people are dying to know, what was that? What was that, man? I mean, mustache aside.
Well, I started out way back in high school in radio, and I worked in radio for a number of years, and that was kind of where everybody thought my whole life was headed, and it was part of the entertainment world, so I seemed like a natural fit. I got sidetracked and went into the fire service, and so now fast forward, 15 or so years, and I made the chief at the Fishers Fire Department in Indiana. And I talked about how when I was a kid growing up, when the fire department came to the school, they got up in front of a convocation and everybody was bored stiff and you couldn't wait until it was over. And some firemen would stand behind the podium and go, "There's 3 parts to a fire: oxygen, fuel," and you just fall asleep. And I said, we can't do that. We got to try doing something different. And of course, I love singing. I love performing. I missed that. I missed that part of radio. And so as a spoof one year, to kind of brighten things up in the middle of our fire marshal's talk, we all came on stage pretending like we were trying to, make it onto the stage, and he was trying to keep us off. And it was just adding a little bit of humor. And then at the end of the show, we finally got on stage, got him off the stage, and we did a song. And it was a fire safety song. But the crowd just went berserk. And we went from school to school doing that. And so we decided, all right, let's keep it going. And it was called MC Axe and the Fire Crew. It was right around the time that MC Axe was popular.
MC Hammer?
I even had the pants. Oh, yeah. Yep, yeah.
I remember, the MC Hammer pants.
And so we called it MC Axe and the Fire Crew. And the following year, when we went out to the schools, we did several songs along with some skits. And basically, it just became that show. But it was all about fire safety. And the kids loved it. We gave out posters and signed things, and then we got an album.
Whoa! Hold on. you gave out posters is a wild understatement. Don't forget, I was there. I was there in the audience. I'm gonna let you continue. I'm gonna let you finish. But every year you had a new tour poster. Every year from like what? So this was like 1990 to 1996 or something. You had a new
Yeah.
poster every year, but because it was a kids show, the poster was like a cartoon drawing of the band on a fire truck. It was different every year, you know, with Snoopy the dog. What the dog's name? Sparky the fire dog.
Mark,
But it was a color in picture. Like it came on a white piece of paper and you colored in the poster, and that was up until like third grade. If you were third through fifth grade, you had to draw the poster yourself, and every year you would pick a winner for a colored poster that kids colored, and then the hand-drawn posters. That's how big of a deal you were. Now continue because it exploded in
Yes.
Indiana, in central Indiana.
Yes, from that point on, it was a blur for about the next 5 years. It really was a blur. It just went berserk, and we got hooked up with somebody from public television, from the local public television station there in Indianapolis, and they said we'd like to come out and try filming a music video with your group. And we're like, what are you going to use the music video for? And they said, well, you know, we have these breaks between the morning's kids shows, like Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street. They all have a little break in there of about 5 minutes that we have to fill. And we're running out of things to fill it with right now. So could we try this? And they came out and filmed it. And of course, they put it in there. And then, like you said, I hate to use the term, but the rest is history. But it went nuts. They filmed a series of them. They were between all the morning kids shows. So every child between the age of 2 and 6 knew me. I could not go to the grocery store. I could not go to the gas station. I could not go to church. I could not go anywhere without being recognized from those little music videos that they showed between Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and all this, the school bus one and all that.
Right.
And then it just went nuts from there. That group to this day is still in existence and still doing shows in central Indiana.
And still using the music you wrote.
Yes,
The fire.
yes, that's true.
I mean, we got to rewind after this, but the fire station. So you did all that as fire chief of Fishers, Indiana. You were the fire chief of Fishers, Indiana. So you moved, you know, and they kept MC Axe going. But then a private group came and was like, hey, we'd like to do this for money. You guys are nonprofit. Can we buy MC Axe from you? So they sold MC Axe, which is, I mean, it's just nuts. It was just this little thing you guys started that went huge. Didn't you have hold on, wasn't MC Axe on the side of a fire truck?
Yes.
Or was it a trailer?
Yes.
I know you guys had your own trailer.
And we had it on a huge trailer. We had that thing that we toted around that had MC Axe and the fire crew across the side of it, and had that same cartoonish drawing of everybody that we used originally. Yep.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm getting flustered now. All right, what were we just talking about? I had something that made sense.
I was talking about the trailer.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to put that in context. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all right. So because it was you were the fire chief and everyone in the group was a firefighter, it's not like you could go out and do gigs as MC Axe and get paid. It all went into the fire department, right? And you guys were being paid for being a fire chief, being a firefighter. You were all on duty when you went and did this. So MC Axe was a money maker for this fire station, And therefore, because you guys couldn't pocket any of that money personally, that money went back into trailers, lights, giant sound systems, audio video crew, music video production. So you were basically, and people can put this into context because these people out here watching know me so well, you were basically given a ton of money to budget to this creative endeavor by the fire department, right?
Yeah, essentially, eventually they did spin it off to be a not-for-profit organization. So eventually they did spin it off, and then we had a board that oversaw that, and we had to do the budget for them and everything. But
wow.
But when they did, that was before the album and the videos and the T-shirts. So yes, we had an influx of revenue that all went into that nonprofit, and yeah, it all went out to equipment. We weren't getting salaries for doing this, but eventually we did make everybody do it on their days off, and if you were working, you had to get a fill-in. But we eventually began traveling all around central Indiana. All around the Midwest, actually Michigan and Illinois and Ohio. We traveled quite a bit, and even I know this is unbelievable. We won a regional Emmy. I didn't even know there were regional Emmys, but the Emmys have regions for different localized types of broadcasting, and we got a regional Emmy for that music video.
I don't even think I knew that. Yeah. Dang. I got to step up my game. Is it over there?
I'm going to look just a second.
All right, Phil Kouwe, everybody, on the show today. You're watching Phil Kouwe. We're talking about MCAX and the Fire Crew, a group that was started in rural Indiana and exploded to fame, ladies and gentlemen. My dad mentioned they had T-shirts, they had albums, and this was not in the time of records. It was not in the time of CDs. They had cassette albums, cassette tapes. Phil, did you find it?
That's how important a regional Emmy is,
you don't
right?
know where it is.
It's so important you can't even find it the one time you want to show it off.
Would it be at the fire department still, or did you?
No, they kept one, and I also kept one. We had two of them.
So the act was you guys did a lot of pop songs or songs from your not childhood, from your day that were you turned into fire prevention parodies. One of which the Chardon Polka Band plays. We do when the smoke alarm sounds, you better get down and go. We did that for our kids' album. I was just telling the fine people you had an album on cassette tape. I should have had I been more prepared for the show today, I would have it.
Some of the lyrics for some of those fire safety songs, your mother was involved in as well. Being a teacher, she knew what little kids like to listen to and what they like to hear and what words they're familiar with, and she helped write some of the lyrics of those for that reason.
You had a VHS tape. If we have anybody watching from Indiana, if you live in central Indiana, I would bet you money if you go to three Goodwills. If you go to three Goodwills, at one of them you will find an MCAX and the Fire Crew video VHS. You can find those at Goodwills in Indiana. Not that anybody would ever part with one, but they're there. I've seen that. And folks, I just want you to know, you may think the Chardon Polka Band is successful, but I live in this shadow every day. I have to wake up. I have family in Indiana, so I visit Indiana. And if I visit Indiana, I go to a thrift store, and then I find my dad's VHS tapes. That's what kind of shadow I live under every day. That constant reminder that no matter how big the Chardon Polka Band gets, we're not there yet. Yeah, we don't have posters every year.
That's great. I remember the very first time I was walking through a mall, and out of the corner of my ear, hearing, what sounded like me. And the more I listened, I realized there was one of those learning stores, and they had our video in the back running, and about eight or 10 kids gathered around watching it. And I just remember thinking, that is just so weird.
Oh man, it's wild. It is wild, and it's wild. So as a kid, my first musical experience other than Lawrence Welk program, I remember this was before I even was in elementary school. I was in preschool, and my mom said I was at home that day, and she said, "Well, we're gonna go see your dad at work," and I went, "I don't want to do that." I remember going, "I don't want to do that." Like it's not. I mean, I'd been raised in fire departments, so they were cool. But I don't need to see another fire truck, Mom. I'm not gonna go see Dad at work. I want to stay home, watch Mr. Rogers. And she's like, "No, we're gonna go see your dad at work. He's working at the school today." I'm like, "Mom, Dad doesn't work at schools." And so Mom dragged me to this thing that I absolutely didn't want to go to. I stand in the back of gymnasium, the lights are off, and all of a sudden, like, all these lights come on, and you come running on stage in your MC Hammer pants and start dancing and rapping, and I'm just like, "Whoa, who is this man? What's Dad doing, Mom?" And you were dancing across stage in MC Hammer pants, and then you had the dog was there with you, and everybody was rapping. What? And from there on, like I told the people when we started this conversation, that's what I thought my dad did after that. And I'm sorry, but we've had the conversation. When it was time to do career day at school, I went as a fire chief. All those years at elementary school, I borrowed turnout gear, I wore the fire helmet, and trotted off to school because I wanted to be just like my dad. I had no interest in running and burning buildings or learning about fire safety. I wanted to be that guy on stage jumping around in MC Hammer pants. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Kouwe, as MC Axe, you guys, and this was a big deal for a kid, you opened the town's McDonald's. You cut the ribbon on the McDonald's and played a concert. That's how important he was. I believe you opened a car dealership. You played all these festivals, and like you were saying, you were on TV. But downtown, they had a big public television Kids Day. It was Kids Fest. It was like 3 days.
Right.
And the event was Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch, Miss Frizzle, and MCX. So as a kid, all these characters that you saw on TV and were part of everyday language, my dad in our area was one of those characters. He was up on stage with Big Bird. My dad knew Big Bird. He's important. Hold up, Dad. I gotta go get him the VHS tape. You tell him about the PBS Kids Day. Tell him some stories. I'll be back, Dad. You entertain these people.
I can't believe you even have that tape. But yeah, so they were having this big event where it's a festival. It fills the whole downtown square in Indianapolis, Indiana. They open it all up, the World War Memorial, and the whole area is all cordoned off, and all these events for kids. And way up on the steps of the Indiana War Memorial, where you're above everything's this big stage set up, and they had invited all of the main characters from Sesame Street were there. So these were some characters that I had literally grown up with. I can't even remember all their names, but all these characters that had been on Sesame Street for 20 or 25 years were there to appear before these kids. And I was in awe of them as much as the little kids were. And then we got to perform, and they came out and danced with us. And it was really cool because, the whole auditorium or the whole group, the whole grounds, all the way out a whole city block, as far as you could see, were nothing but these kids having all the time of their life to our music and the guys from Sesame Street. And it was really exciting because, I got to meet Big Bird. I got to actually shake Big Bird's wing. It was very exciting. I was thrilled. Doesn't take much to excite me like that.
All right, so Dad, while you were regaling the folks with stories, and sorry, this isn't a polka show tonight. This is just Jake and Phil hanging out, and I hope you guys like that. I don't know. It's do whatever I want on this show, you know. This is the VHS tape, MCX and the Fire Crew teaching fire safety. Let's see, bam, it's good stuff. This is the cassette tape. At MCX and the Fire Crew, what's at the firehouse? That's what it's called. You can see it down here at the firehouse. Now this, I should mention, this cassette tape was, it was like a story. These kids were dropped off at the firehouse, and you guys gave them a tour and talked to them about fire safety. Does that sound like another kids album I've heard ever? Chardon Polka. I just lifted that idea. Oh my gosh. And then, I mean, there's so much ground we could cover, but we're just having fun, folks. So I have like this shrine up in my office. I also grabbed this. There's an old school photo of you and me at the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service where you sang every year. So that's how that's how I grew up, folks. With Dad doing crazy stuff and singing, and that was early on during my elementary years that he was MCX and Fire Crew, and then later in life I started going along with you to Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service where you sang for 21, 22 years. You got your own brick in their sidewalk, and that was like an annual thing, and I went and saw you is not perform in that. That's a bit different. I mean, you were singing. It is a performance, but it wasn't like a gig performance. You sang for the president with that one, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, we've had a debate as to whether it was one president or two. I cannot remember whether I might have sung for Clinton, but definitely George W. Never George H.
George W. Didn't he shake your hand?
Yes, he shook my hand and he said, "You have a nice voice, young man." And I thought, A, I'm not young, and B, I never thought of that. But it was exciting. It was fun. I have that photo somewhere too. I should have. It's on my phone.
Had we prepared for this thing, I could have had all kinds of references of us performing together throughout the years, and I just didn't.
We sang. I sang at another big event for a presidential candidate one time, and so they had the Secret Service there and everything, and we were going to be performing "God Bless America" or something along that line. Me and a friend of mine, and we were right at the podium, and right next to the podium was the presidential candidate's dinner, and they had already put the dessert there. Well, it's pudding. It's just waiting. No one's eating it. Well, we found out that if you go for the vice or the presidential candidate's pudding, the Secret Service doesn't appreciate that at all.
No. Well, the Chardon Polka Band's never been in that position. Ladies and gentlemen, Asha's joining us back there. I see Asha. Oh, adorable. All right, folks, it is 7:30, which means we need to start wrapping things up. We do stretch this show, though the kids are hollering and stuff upstairs. Because this is a polka show, it's not all about Phil Kouwe. I did want to feature Dad. It's for Father's Day tomorrow. I just figured it would be a cool opportunity. As we've discussed, Dad, this live stream is just kind of a different opportunity to engage our fans in different ways that we don't necessarily do on stage. Now, we'd spent a lot of time on MCX and some of my earlier shenanigans that you were involved in, but you remain very involved in the Chardon Polka Band. You, of course, have been on I think all of our albums, save for maybe like one of the live ones you weren't on, but you're on the albums, and then you play several shows with us every year. What do you think about? Just tell me, what do you think about that? Cleveland Oktoberfest. What do you think?
I think the weirdest thing for me was that transition from back when you and I performed together and we began to kind of get the beginnings of the Chardon Polka Band, where I would sort of fill in for whatever instrument happened to be missing. And so I felt like I was kind of part of that band, and I helped, with the sound and helped the show move along. And I remember feeling that transition from where I was carrying the show because you didn't have the experience and, would start to lag, to the point where all of a sudden you were carrying the show and I didn't need to anymore. And I kept thinking I needed to. And then I had to finally fall back and let you carry the show. And to this day, I stand back and play with you guys when you allow me to play the bass back there, which I really enjoy doing. And I realize I am so privileged to be allowed to participate with you guys in the kinds of shows you do and the kinds of connections that you make with the people that you play for. And it's just been so cool to do that. And now I just sit back there, and when I do get to play, you can know that I'm back there thinking my life is never going to get better than this moment.
That's awesome, Dad. I mean, you're certainly not thinking about what chord to play next.
No, I'm not.
Sorry, no, Dad's a wonderful bass player. We love it. I had to throw it. This is a live show, so I have to continue the Chardon Polka Band hijinks. No, every year you can see Dad at the Worst Fest. You come back for the Geauga County Fair every year since you and me kind of landed that gig for the Chardon Polka Band, I think. And you're at the Cleveland Oktoberfest every year, and it's cool that we get to share that. I can't yet imagine what it's like as a dad to share that. My kids aren't quite there yet, but for me, getting to that Cleveland Oktoberfest every year, where I know Dad's going to be there, the fans get to see my dad, and you and me get to hang out all weekend and just play shows. It's very, very different. It's a very different relationship, and I know we've had that going all the way back. I remember talking to my friends in high school, where that high school is that very rebellious period for most. And we had this conversation when Mom was on the live stream, that you guys were so my lifeline to getting me to gigs and stuff, that I really obviously I had rebellious times, but I mean, I was working with you guys most of the time. You and me were
You couldn't afford to tick us off, that's for sure.
Right. When you guys were just so involved in what I was doing. We played at church together. We did shows together. If I was playing the talent show at school, you were, whether you wanted to or not, you had to drive me. So you were in the talent show for Chardon High School for like 2 or 3 years.
And we did those video productions for church videos that I believe you are still getting a royalty off of, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. We've done a lot of cool creative endeavors, and behind the scenes, guys, Phil is always involved. If nothing else, is a creative consultant to almost everything the Chardon Polka Band does. We show you for opinions. The guys know and love Dad and Mom. We stop by there when we're in North Carolina. The band is like a big family, but it's also that way because we have a lot of family involved. Right, Dad?
That is the truth. And, I feel like everybody has been an extended part of our family, just because the amount of time and the experiences that we've been through together.
Yeah. When you have, we're working on wrapping things up, but you got the picture on your wall of me, you, and Emily at the Cleveland Oktoberfest. And I just look at that photo and I go, holy smokes, that's my dad, me and my wife performing on stage together. Just, I don't think many people get to experience that, and it's really cool, especially with how much you and I care about the creative endeavors, care about performance, to be able to share that together. And for me, as before we talked about MC Acts for a half hour, I was saying, you shaped, what I am as a performer and still do, just by being an inspiration, but also the kind of advice. I was, I talked about you guys, you kicking down the door and yelling at me about learning the right chords and stuff like that. But for as many times as that happened, and that seriously did happen, my dad would also pull me aside and speak wisdom to me as a performer. One time, I remember I was, something had happened before a show, and I was just real upset about it. And this was one of the years at Geauga County Fair, playing with the Chardon Polka Band. You grabbed me and pulled me back and go, "Hey man, you got to knock that off." And I go, "But this happened. I'm really upset." And you go out there, and you go out there with a smile, because that's what these people came to see. And you don't go out there and bring them down because you're having a bad day. You got to turn that bad day off. You can get back to it in an hour, but you got to do this when you're in front of people. And that changed my life. That changed, that's what this job is built on. Another time, I know it's a really weird live stream with no music on it, folks, but one of the most monumental times that I can think of in my life, this would have been after the polka band had already started. I was asked to lead a band of middle schoolers at church. I was in high school, and they said, "We need someone to corral all these middle schoolers into a band." And I told you about that, and I said, it's a big commitment every Sunday, every week. And I just don't know. There were like a list of like 15, 20 middle schoolers who were involved in this band that I was going to have to deal with and corral. And I said, "Yeah, Dad, I just don't know if I should be agreeing to do something and that I'm not qualified for." And you stopped me and you said, "Jake, I've watched you for 4 years run around with a bunch of middle schoolers, high schoolers, making music for 4 years. It's what you do every weekend. And somehow, you corral all these people into do it. This is the exact kind of thing you should be doing." And to have someone who I obviously love and respect speak that kind of truth to me in a moment of self-doubt and go, "No, you are capable of this, and this is the kind of thing you should acknowledge that you are capable of and do." That's a big deal. I think I certainly to myself feel that's father advice. That's how I want to be a dad. So, all right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's 7:40, right? Dad, I love you, Dad. Thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. A great polka live stream tonight. We didn't do much polka music, but we got one more week, Dad. One more week of doing this show, I think, until we're playing shows again in July. So we're still gonna do something, but we don't know what moving forward. But might be the last 2 weeks of this live stream. Dad, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna shut off your video here. Thanks, man. All right, hold on. There we go. Mr. Phil Kouwe, everybody, my dad. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It's a crazy thing, this live stream. It's been a lot of fun. I'm going to do it next week. And of course, if you weren't tuned into the Simply Slavic live stream, go check it out later, because it's a really good time as well. And we want you guys to see that and experience that fun stuff. Thank you for putting up with what this live stream is, which is kind of an anything can happen show. It's a Chardon Polka Band show, but sometimes it's just me here talking, and I played one song with footage from the guys, but know that Mitch, Mike, and Bob, we're all looking forward to getting back to playing music for you guys in whatever fashion we can. We're working on virtual projects every single week. We got a cool project that we're hoping will debut on the 4th of July weekend. Speaking of which, we got a video on our YouTube channel where you can sing along with Fred Swick for some 4th of July fun. Please do that. We could use a couple more submissions before we finish that up. I do have some more great footage of me and the guys playing at the library a couple weeks ago that's still finishing touches of that, and I'll share hopefully a bit more of that with you next week, and you can see that in some of our virtual presentations which we share online. Because a lot of shows are coming back for us and we've got some on the books, but a lot are being canceled every day, so I'm going to share this with you. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to do this, but we are on Venmo if you want to tip us, venmo.com/Chardon Polka Band. We're also on something called Patreon, which allows you to be a monthly subscriber to the Chardon Polka Band. You just give us money every month for these creative endeavors. And of course, if you really feel like it, you can mail us a check, credit card, beer at P.O. Box 908, Burton, Ohio 44021. Speaking of mailing us things, we got to get to this next week. Someone mailed me ice cream this week as a polka thank you. That's pretty cool, from Purple Door Ice Cream in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's the happy hour 4-pack, so it's all these like booze flavored ice creams. So thank you to the Smoot family for that. I didn't leave much time in the show, and I want to play one more song. So we'll get into the ice cream next week, and because I felt just delighted about it, it makes it into our video that's premiering that 4th of July weekend. So here's Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Oh, Linda, great idea. When we're on the road, we could do live from the road, you know. On off nights, we just do some live streams. I like it. Irene, good night. It's good to see everybody tonight. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Folks, you never know what you're going to get on the Chardon Polka Band Saturday live stream. I believe we got one more week for now. So, you know, tune in next weekend. And then after that, we'll be doing a few live shows. So, going to go silent on this for a while. I don't know what it looks like, folks. So, give us time to figure that out. We love you guys. Thank you. Thank you to the deer. Sorry there wasn't much music tonight. I hope that didn't offend some of y'all. Like I said, it's just it's kind of anything goes program, and you know, it's just it's sometimes it's just Jake therapy, you know. So we appreciate you guys, and here's our closer will be a little bit different tonight. Love you guys, and go check out Simply Slavic, and we'll see you next week.
Did you know fire is not the only thing that can burn you? That's right, almost anything that's hot can burn you. Did you ever touch anything that was really hot? Ow, it hurts, doesn't it? So you should never touch things that are hot, like pots and pans on the stove, or the barbecue grill, or a heater. Because if you do, you'll find out the hard way those things are hot, hot, hot.
song now to help you learn just what is hot, hot, hot. When something's burning, you should be learning that it's hot, hot, hot. But you must resist coming close just like this. You'll be feeling the heat, and it won't be so neat, 'cause it'll burn, 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 burn. Oh, it'll burn, 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 burn. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot. When something's smoking, it's not a joking, it is hot, hot, hot. When flames are showing, you should be knowing that it's hot, hot, hot. But you must resist coming close just like this. You'll be feeling the heat, and it won't be so neat, 'cause it'll burn, 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 burn. Oh, it'll burn, 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 burn. Feeling hot, hot, hot. We're feeling hot, hot, hot. Ole, 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 ole. Flames of the candle are hot, hot, hot. The stove in the kitchen is hot, hot, hot. The old space heater could be hot, hot, hot. The ashes in the fireplace are hot, hot, hot. Well, I'm hot, you're hot, he's hot, she's hot, I'm hot, you're hot, we're hot.